OK, let's talk to Omar Baddar, a Palestinian-American political analyst from Washington. Omar, what do you make of what you heard so far today? Biden, they're saying he backs a two-state solution. Many others seem to suggest that this idea is dead, that it's no longer a viable solution, that there just isn't the political will on either side.
It certainly is dead. And you actually saw an acknowledgement of that in Biden's speech itself, which basically paid lip service to the two-state solution while adding, but of course, we're not expecting to see it anytime soon. And all that really means is that because Israel has killed the two-state solution, has made clear that it does not want it, is not interested in it, that there's not going to be any meaningful pressure from the Biden administration on Israel to change its behavior. So we are stuck in this dynamic in which we pay lip service to the idea of a two-state solution while Israel continues to swallow up more and more Palestinian land, entrenching the occupation of the Palestinian territories, making it permanent, and imposing a permanent system of apartheid on top of Palestinians that President Biden refuses to acknowledge while singing songs about peace. It really has been just completely devoid of any substance so far.
So if not a two-state solution, what is a viable path forward?
It seems like there is room for a genuine anti-apartheid struggle that leads to one state with equal rights for everybody. Every single Israeli and every single Palestinian should be able to exist with equal rights and with the ability to live in freedom and dignity. And what we have right now is a system of segregation and inequality in which Jewish citizens of Israel have full rights, they have full democratic rights, they can go wherever they want, they can travel however they want to, while Palestinians are subjected to different levels of control, ranging all the way to having completely no rights in the occupied Palestinian territories and completely suffocated economically under siege in Gaza as well. And that's the inequality that we're facing that has to change, is that until the United States is willing to hold Israel accountable and to actually force it to treat Palestinians as equal human beings, we are going to be stuck in the situation where there's just ongoing conflict forever, because peace is really impossible unless there is justice, and justice does demand for there to be freedom and human rights for Palestinians.
Could it be that Israel's further integration in the Middle East could help facilitate some change? Could it be when it comes to the treatment of Palestinians that perhaps other Arab countries could apply some pressure on Israel to perhaps mediate between Israel and the Palestinians?
Well, history tells us otherwise, because there has been something called the Arab Peace Initiative, in which the entire Arab League offered to fully normalize relations with Israel in exchange for Israel ending the occupation of the Palestinian territories and allowing the Palestinians to have a state of their own. And Israel simply rejected that completely out of hand. And what we're seeing right now is really normalization with authoritarian governments in the region that don't really represent their people. And frankly, they are governments that are already in close relations with Israel. They're simply just becoming more public about those relations. But ultimately, I don't think that really contributes in any meaningful way towards peace with the Palestinians, because no party so far has shown real meaningful willingness to place pressure on Israel to get it to change its behavior. And right now, this cozying up to Israel, thinking that you can coddle Israel into Israel behaving better, is just simply has been a failed recipe for over 30 years so far.
OK, well, let's wait and see what comes of those meetings between Biden and the Palestinian leaders on Thursday. Omar, thank you. Omar Baddar, a Palestinian-American political analyst from Washington, D.C.